Welcome to the Community InRoads Show, spotlighting the many treasures found in Greater Lawrence and Haverhill. My name is Joan Kulash. I'm going to be your host today. Joining me are Yesenia Gil, the Executive Director of the nonprofit Bread and Roses Housing, along with her guest, Estarlyn Hiraldo. Welcome, you guys. And so, Yesenia, right before we started here, you were saying, why did I finally say yes? I mean, because, and when you say finally, how long has it been that I've been trying to get you to come on with me?
It's been some time now, but you finally convinced me.
Can we say years? Can we say years?
I wouldn't say years.
All right, so a year and maybe some months. Let's just say that.
Nonetheless, thank you for allowing us to join you today.
Well, you know that the pleasure is all mine, but we're going to also make the pleasure yours as well. So I figured maybe we'll start by just talking about how our roads connected. For people who are unaware of Community InRoads, what we do is we'd like to say our byline is helping nonprofits to make inroads towards social justice and economic equality. And so one of the biggest needs in the Merrimack Valley, not just Lawrence or North Andover or Haverhill, is affordable housing. Right? I mean, rents are going up, and it's very hard to find just the basics right now. And so your mission has been just phenomenal in terms of addressing that need. And I thought maybe we could just talk a little bit about that, and then we'll get deeper into it.
Sure. Before I talk a little bit about Bread and Roses Housing, I just wanted to preface how important our partnership has been with Community InRoads. We certainly are supported in many ways by your organization, and it really allows us to continue to do the work that we do in an efficient manner. Just to talk a little bit about how we partnered, I certainly cannot take credit for our partnership. It predates me. My predecessor, Mary Mara, actually was smart enough to understand how important Community InRoads, which was Jericho Road in those times, what an important role they served in the community, and partnered with your organization, Auntie, and it has been profound for sure. Our beneficiaries are even more well served than the services that we provide. Just to give you an example, with Jericho Road, again, during that time, we were able to work on our logo and recreate it. Since then, we've revamped our website, and that was through the help of Community InRoads. More importantly, we've been able to recruit many important individuals doing great work in the community and the surrounding communities to sit on our board, and that would not have happened without Community InRoads. So thank you, Auntie, for everything that you do. In terms of what Bread and Roses Housing does, we are a 501c3 nonprofit that does operate in Lawrence. We have a physical space in Lawrence, but we serve the greater Lawrence community, and we're also a community land trust.
Very good. So that is very helpful. I think one of the things that is important to Community InRoads is that organizations like yours are in a very strong position to do the wonderful work that you do. And I'm wondering, so I think we have some photos that we were going to show, perhaps as Yesenia is talking about, a little bit more about your model. And how that works, because it's very unique. We have a couple of other organizations that also do affordable homes that are phenomenal. I think your model is very unique, and it's worth talking about.
Correct. I think unique certainly describes it. It is a community land trust, as I mentioned. We think it's a social change strategy in the sense that we act as a steward for the community. And if you look at the screen, there's a nice visual there that really talks about the model. We develop affordable housing for low-income families. We strictly focus on home ownership. We feel that families, especially on the lower income tiered families in our society, really just need an opportunity that sometimes is beyond their reach because of their income. to own a home. And we feel that a home really anchors a family. So all we do is develop affordable home ownership. And we become stewards of the land when we develop a property by taking a home such as the one on the visual, on the screen. We develop the home, and it may be either through infill construction, or we may acquire a property and rehab it. We would then sell the home to an income-eligible family, but retain ownership of the land. And what that allows us to do, Auntie, is not just serve the family immediately. That's the immediate impact. The long-term impact is that we hold that property affordable in perpetuity, and so we act as a steward for the community to ensure that that home is affordable really through generations, not just the generation we're assisting at the moment, but future generations as well.
And you know, it not only helps the people in the homes, but it's also helping the neighborhoods.
Absolutely.
Right.
It's one of our tenets. Our mission is to develop affordable and preserve affordable housing. But a second tenet of our mission is really to improve neighborhoods that unfortunately suffer from disinvestment. We usually target those properties, such as this one here, that have been a blight in the community. And we come in and hopefully create something that is more sustainable, not just for the families, again, but for the community at large.
Yeah. You know, you had a couple, I'm wondering if I could impose on the camera folks in the back to show some of the other pictures. There were a few others, a before and an after,
Sure.
which I think is important to see. I'm wondering, guys, if, yeah. So here's the after. And the one before, once again, can we flip back? So that was before.
Correct.
That's in North Andover.
It is in North Andover.
Yep.
It was a property that was a blight for a few years, and we worked with the town to acquire it, and we did demolish it. Unfortunately, it was not practical to rehab the property, so we did have to tear it down. But in its place, we built another single family for a wonderful family of 5 who is currently living there now.
Yeah, and so there it is now. And so you're just starting within the last few years, I think, coming into North Andover. Mainly you were in Lawrence, then you started coming in to North Andover, and now you're going into Haverhill as well. And so I've been to these homes, and they are absolutely beautiful. I'm wondering, can we see a few more of the photos that Yesenia brought? So this is
actually a project in Haverhill, as you mentioned, Auntie. We have been in existence since 1988, so we just actually had a really big 30th bash with all of our homeowners.
And I was not invited to that?
You were invited, you did not attend.
Oh, is that right?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
Yes, you couldn't make it.
It happened.
But we have been in existence for 30 years, initially focusing in Lawrence, but we have expanded our footprint to now include North Andover and now Haverhill, and this is the rendering of a 10-unit project that we will be developing in the near future, within the next year.
Yep.
We're still working through our permitting, but those are 10 units that we will build in Haverhill.
Beautiful. So I think that our star of our show, I mean, really, when you're talking about how affordable housing helps and why it's so important to us to help you, to the little bit that we can, just to keep you firm and strong, is the individuals who live in these homes. And I was at one of your fundraisers just recently, and the chair of your organization said that this is not a handout. And it most certainly is not. But it is giving people a leg up so that they can exercise the talents that they have and be all that they can be. So our star, the guest of honor today, is a gentleman by the name of Estarlyn. Yes. And so I don't want to embarrass you, but I'm going to, and I'm very good at that, right? Yesenia. But Yesenia sent me a list of just some of the accomplishments that you've been able to achieve in your young life. And I know you probably don't think you're all that young, but indeed you are, and especially for all that you've accomplished. So currently you're a sociology major at Providence College. You just so happen to be on the dean's list. No big deal, right?
No.
You are a Feinstein Institute Community Fellow at the Genesis Center. You are a volunteer with the organization Art in the Afternoon, which is a program for children at Wanskuk Library. Am I pronouncing that correctly? You are an ESL teacher for cafeteria staff, where here in Lawrence or
Providence College.
At Providence College. And how did that start? Did you just jump in there? And
well, the beginning of fall semester, I went to campus ministry and heard all about it. The minute I heard ESL, I used to be an ESL student. My family and I came to the United States in 2008, so I know what it feels like to be in those shoes, to not be able to master the language as much as you like to. And I know the struggles that a lot of immigrants like myself and my family have to go through to provide for themselves in this country. So I just wanted to do the same favor a lot of people have done for me and have supported me over the years to help me be where I am today. So.
And that was, I might just add, the first year of college. So you were a freshman,
yes,
right?
I
just think about most freshmen, you know, that they go in and they're just
trying to figure things out.
Out. You're overwhelmed.
Where do they stand?
So this gentleman goes in and he's already in the fall
semester.
Yeah, I mean, that's like right in the beginning. You are a member of the executive board of the Organization of Latin American Students, also from the college?
From the college, yes.
From the college, the executive board, right? Not just the board, but the executive board. You were involved in the Providence College peer mentoring program for first-generation students.
Yes.
Did you start that like the first day, or did you wait a week before?
It was like a couple months after.
A couple of months.
Yeah.
You are on the Providence College radio show, or do you run it, or did you start it?
Well, I had a show all year long with my roommate and one of my friends, and then next year I'm going to be on the exec board as well as a music producer.
Yep. This is, I see, to me, I find this just totally amazing. So there's an organization, Believers of the Word.
Of words. Yeah, it's a spoken word club on campus.
Okay. And also poetry and spoken spoken word club. So were you ever a member of the Guerrilla Society here in Lawrence?
I was not. No,
you weren't, but
no.
It was this kind of the same idea where they're young poets who kind of
a little bit
do social justice through and that can be very powerful. I've heard that. So this is what one of your professors say. That your in-depth analysis of social issues and clear voice for social justice, with that, Estarlyn will change the world. Estarlyn was also recently a Giagrandine Family Scholarship. Is that what Mary Morris started?
Yes, it's the John Grande Family Scholarship, which was created when our executive director retired, as well as the executive director of Si Se Puede. They retired at the exact same time. And since really their passion is social justice, they could not retire without leaving another footprint in the world. So they created the John Grande Scholarship to benefit the students in the Bread and Roses housing program, Si Se Puede, and all of the projects in the city of Lawrence. They've recently just opened it up, I think, to include all of Lawrence. But the main focus and target are those three groups. And once those three groups are taken care of, then they certainly allow others to apply.
Yeah. And so as we were talking and I was asking you about what you were doing this summer and have you been able to rest, you started telling me, can you just add just a few more things? And then I want to talk a little bit about your Bread and Roses housing experience. But I do want people to know that this is not just your average bear sitting here.
It's not.
Well, yeah, this summer I'm home, and thank you for having me here, first of all. I really appreciate it, and to be here with you and be able to share this valuable information with the public. This summer I'm interning at St. John's Prep at my old high school for the alumni office, doing video editing and graphic design, event planning for the school. And I'm also intern at Heinemann Publishing up in Portsmouth, New Hampshire, doing similar work as well, and getting to know a little bit more about the corporate world and how that works. Since I've already done a lot of nonprofit work, I really wanted to get the chance to see it in a different setting and learn about all the ins and outs, how, see the differences in different places. So I'm learning a lot from it, and I'm really enjoying my experience there so far.
Well, I'm sure that people are also learning a lot from you. They have to be. Seriously. So, Yesenia and I were teasing you a little bit earlier, and we were saying, Estarlyn, we've made you everything that you are, right? Which, of course, is ridiculous. But the whole idea of the nonprofit community is, and again, to take Kathleen's words when she was speaking, it's not a giveaway. It's just simply that we're seeing the talented individuals and deserving individuals in the community who may not have access to some of the basic resources that they need to be who they are, and to be giving members of the community, and sometimes beyond that. And today we just happen to be fortunate enough to have beyond that. So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about your experience coming into Bread and Roses, before, after, and how that might have helped you to do your thing, just be you, right? And then some.
Well, first and foremost, I feel, my family and I feel very lucky being part of the Bread and Roses housing community. Our life has completely changed ever since we've been part of it. We've been living at our home now for a little bit over a year, say like a year and 5-6 months, around there. And it's been an incredible experience. Since we came to this country, we've never even had the chance to have a backyard, for example. And there's 5 of us living in our home. I have 2 younger sisters. One is 7, the other one's 13. So you can imagine how much something as simple as a backyard and can really liven the living experience of my sisters and myself, even my parents. It's a different thing when you're, like you said, the rent is going up. You might be living next to people who you might not even say hi to you. Sometimes you don't even get to know them that well. You might have problems with because maybe there's a noise complaint, or people are doing certain things that someone else doesn't like because that's just not, you don't have compatible lifestyles, and all those sorts of things. The time that you get up for work, to go to work, and parking, a lot of those things really are a burden for a lot of residents, especially in Lawrence, given the fact that it's a heavily populated city, especially an immigrant city, where there's a lot of people with similar experiences who just don't have the resources they wish they had in order to succeed, in order to support for their families, and for their neighbors, people living in their community. And I can tell you, a lot of friends and neighbors and just people who live in the nearby area, there's a lot of people who are dedicated to the community, who want to invest, who want to learn more about themselves in the process, and learn more about the neighboring communities, but they just don't have access to any of those resources, utilities, etc. Now that my family and I have a home, through the Bread and Roses housing, it feels like we become a lot tighter. Like we actually feel like we're an actual family. We've been able to connect a lot more with one another and with our neighbors. I was telling Yesenia, like, privacy is a huge thing, especially in today's world, but it's something we've never gotten the chance to experience to this extent. Where you have your own home, you get to make the decisions you want based on how you want to live, what kind of rules you want in your home, what kind of backyard you want in your home, like what's going on in the area. Having our own basement, being able to, simple things as being able to have a washer and a dryer, stuff like that a lot of family members and friends in the community just don't have the ability to have those luxuries. And for us, it's, like I said, completely changed our lives, and it's made us a lot more connected to the community. We've gotten to know our neighbors, and it feels like we have neighbors. My mom cooks for them. They'll cook for us. They'll, just pass by every other day if we see them outside. Any little favor that may be, it feels like you're living somewhere where it's worth living, It makes the little work that you do not seem so burdening on a person. You enjoy what you do, in a sense. For me, I'm an artist. I do all kinds of things. I do video editing, graphic design, and painting, and a lot of music and stuff. I've been able to set up my own little art studio and a recording studio in my home. Yeah.
In the house.
And it's something that...
In the basement? Is that
yeah.
what you do? Yeah.
And it's something that before it was a huge, conflict and just a problem being able to do something, even if it was from noise complaint or just simply having the stuff there before, just wasn't as comfortable. We didn't feel, there'd be times where if you're renting a home, you feel like you're almost not wanted there. If it wasn't for the money, people would just kick you out, and your presence wouldn't be valued, So something like that has helped me evolve so much and truly get to know myself to who I am today, and really get that out, the word out to the community.
And I can't imagine, how your parents must feel too,
Yeah.
that pride of, so the Bread and Roses housing just gave you the stage and the space to be who you are, and that confidence, but also their pride in their kids, also just adds to the energy and the goodwill. One of the things that I love about Bread and Roses housing and what you do, Yesenia, is it's not just a matter of here's an affordable home, but you really work. The word community can be overused, but you work to create community, and that means a lot of the things that what you're talking about right now. It's not that you're just occupying a space in an apartment, and again, there are lots of places that have beautiful apartments, but a place that where people are connecting, and you've got a program that's actually focusing in on that, and I'd love for you to mention a little bit about that, if you don't mind.
If you ask nicely, I will.
Please.
I would love to. Yes, as a matter of fact, our motto is building community one home, one family at a time, and we certainly do that through our organization, and Estarlyn is certainly a product of that. And so I think that those who know Bread and Roses housing know that we develop affordable housing, but they don't know about the other important tenet and programming that's part of our mission, and that's to support our families in their educational goals, any financial stability goals, really any goals that they set out. Now that they have housing stability, we want to ensure that, one, they will be sustainable homeowners, but two, that they're getting to the next level, right? So what is their next goal? So we do create programming to support them, such as this one here. This is a financial literacy program that we created with the help of a Cummings grant that we did receive. We were fortunate to receive 3 years ago now, the 100K for 100. And we used some of the funding to build 4 units that we developed in Lawrence, but we also created this program through a collaboration with ACT Lawrence and Merrimack College.
Yes.
And we bring the Financial Capability Center, which is just, again, the collaboration between the 3 organizations to the community, to our homeowners and those who are aspiring to be homeowners. And it's an 11-week course where they receive tools that will help them succeed in life, such as creating a budget, improving credit, how to save, which is important, right? Especially if you're trying to attain certain goals. You would know this.
I know this guy.
or at least he will once he graduates from college, for sure.
Let's wait on that.
So we do create programming to help our families, even once they've attained housing stability. We feel that we have to continue to support them in all of their other goals. And that trickles down. I mean, Estarlyn is, like I said, is a perfect example of that, where we may be focusing on housing security, and we certainly provide support to our families to help them attain their next goal, but that trickles down, and it trickles down in the most positive way into the family, to their children. A lot of our families report, as a matter of fact, we did a survey a few years back, and majority, in fact, if I could just take out the numbers because I can never forget the details, but 81% of the households reported improvement in the children's education performance. So we know that housing stability is not just about housing, right? Everyone thinks there's a roof over their head, problem solved, you can turn your back. That's not the case. That's at least not the way Bread and Roses Housing operates. We continue to support the family in all of their endeavors. The other thing I wanted to say is that Estarlyn, as great as he is not an outlier. There's so many of our youth in our community. I don't want to call it a program in our community. They're doing fabulous things, such as Estarlyn. Of course, Estarlyn is Oliver? A star.
I know.
He has that. You know, those 4 letters in his name. He truly is a star. But his neighbor, Oliver, which you love, another star.
Keep that a secret, will you?
What?
Keep it a secret. Don't tell him that I adore him. Okay. I don't want his head to get too big. But yeah, he's
another great example.
Yes, indeed.
And I can continue to name all of the wonderful youth in our community. But Estarlyn has the stage today, and we're only talking about Estarlyn. Tell us about the short film you created.
Oh yeah, so
that.
Yeah, I released a short film on February 27th. It's called Heritage. In Spanish is Herencia. And it's a short film about my life growing up in the Dominican Republic. I got the chance to visit my family last summer. I went on a trip there for like almost 3 weeks, and I got the chance to see my country of birth in a different light than I did when I was living there. Because when I lived there, family situation was, very kind of wishy-washy, and I didn't get the chance to go to a lot of places that you would just think someone who lived there might have gone. And I decided to film all of my experiences, or at least a good chunk amount of them. And I had this vision when I was there, like I wanted to not just paint a picture for people like this is my country of birth, and see how beautiful it is, because there's a ton of videos out there about people traveling and filming their experience, right? Just going to see another country. You might be as a tourist and just see the beautiful part of the country, but to me, I wanted to capture the everyday life and routine of your average person over there, or the kind of life that I did as a common man, as a common person, and try to find the good in that, and for people to see that, for them to see why is it that I am this way, why have I become this person to this day, and it's all because of who I was, where I was, what kind of community I lived in, and those morals and those ideals that I grew up with stuck with me all throughout my life, up until today. And I'm happy to say that I continue to live my life that way, that I see it. I invest my time in making sure that I'm spending time in the community, getting to know the people around me, learning from them, because I really do believe that we're all teachers and students, in the sense that your experience is very valuable no matter where you come from, because I had a different, most likely I had a different experience than you have. And I'm more than willing to sit down in a room and speak with you. And I'm 100% sure I will gain something from you just telling me your experience, the same way you'll do with me. And I really think, you know, sitting in a classroom is great. But when you have the chance to do work out in the world and meet different people and engage with people's stories, you really get to see a different side of life that you didn't before. And I really like what Yesenia was talking about, that, you know, I'm not just an outlier in the community, or I'm not a product of the community, because I don't think that way, even though, you know, it is kind of true. We're all products of each other, because without that communication and inclusiveness and support from one another, none of us would be here today. And that's just a simple reality. It's just a better way. It's the way to maintain a better lifestyle. So.
Don't you think we know who our next featured speaker is going to be at our next year's cultural inclusion kickoff?
Absolutely. I was about to say that's a wrap, Auntie. I mean,
right?
we really
right, because
captured the
you
essence
really
of
said what we try and
Absolutely.
say in another program that we have that we can talk about at another time. But yeah, absolutely. And I don't, you know, I've not been to the Dominican Republic, but my guess is, did you say it was Dominican Republic?
Yes.
Is that there is a big sense of, I know you said that your family, your core family may have been a little wishy-washy, but that there is a broader community there. And I feel like that has been brought, because the vast preponderance of people living in Lawrence right now are from the DR, from the Dominican Republic, and there is a tremendous sense of community there, and it's like you really feel that people have one another's backs, and as you were saying, you really want to start to get to know people and get to know your neighbors. And I always kid around that I can't say anything bad about somebody in Lawrence, because I may be talking to their cousin or their best friend, and so you know, you have to be really careful, and that is a good thing.
Well, it's something that you don't see in many places, in a lot of different communities. I don't see that very often, and I think it's something very valuable that a lot of us can learn from.
And I think that, you know, that's part of your culture that is going to have a ripple effect within our larger community. Right. You know, once we start dealing with some other issues regarding perhaps some people who are concerned about people coming from other countries, and this is the kind of thing where people need to really get to know one another and share one another's stories, and see that yes, there are some bad actors all over the place and in many different cultures, but the big good news is that the majority of people are not like that. And I still have faith in humanity. And I think that is why people like Yesenia and a lot of the other nonprofits are in Lawrence, is not because they're going to be making a lot of money, correcto, but it is that they believe in the people living in the community, and here is but one of, as you're saying, many, many examples.
Absolutely. I am proud to be the executive director of Bread and Roses Housing. I'm proud to call myself, I no longer live in Lawrence, but I'm still a Laurentian. One love to Lawtown. And as I said, I no longer live in Lawrence, but my commute is 45 minutes to come work in Lawrence. So I'm committed to the community. I grew up in Lawrence, educated in Lawrence, and I'm happy to come back and bring whatever skills and experiences that I've learned from working in other markets and other sectors to Lawrence, because I know there's so much potential there. There's so many Estarlyns in our community that I want to be there one, to experience it, to witness the greatness that comes out of our small community, but also to foster as much as possible any experiences and resources that they can use to really get to the next level. That's all they need. In reality, I think we all need just that one opportunity. It doesn't have to mean housing or finance. It could be in any sense. We all need just one opportunity. It may just be an opportunity to meet someone new, a new friend. I mean, we're all seeking opportunities in different ways, and we hope that at Bread and Roses Housing we're doing just that for our families.
Yeah. So about 10 minutes ago, I was told that we had 5 more minutes. So I do want to mention something that sometimes is a difficult thing to talk about, and that is, as you are expanding your program and expanding the opportunity for more and more people to have affordable homes and to have more and more Estarlyns, we need money in order to have that happen. And so I just want to reach out to our audience and say, if anybody wants to either volunteer to help Bread and Roses Housing or donate money, that they can get a hold of Yesenia Gil, and I think that we have the information that's going to be coming up, or maybe not. But Yesenia, you can say what your email address is.
Absolutely. The best way is to actually go to our website, which is www.brhousing.org, and there is an option there to donate through PayPal. But you could also mail a check to Bread and Roses Housing. We are located at 15 Union Street, Suite 401 in Lawrence. The zip code is 01840. Or you may email me, and we can certainly discuss volunteer opportunities or donations, or even opportunities to become our next Estarlyn. And you could call me.
I want one of those opportunities to be the next Estarlyn.
You may call. Yes, exactly. We have an application process.
Make it in a position.
Our telephone number, Auntie, is 978-685-1823.
Can you say that again slowly?
978-685-1823. And my email address is Y, as in Yesenia, not to be, although it sounds like it's a J, but it's Yesenia.
Yeah.
Y.Gil, one L.
Yep.
At brhousing.org.
So y.gil@brhousing.org.
Correct.
So I want to again thank you for being in the show, for you for being in my life. I mean, there are so many other things that I want to talk about with you, and how you have actually taken your time to volunteer, to be a community InRoads volunteer, to also help some of the other nonprofits, because we don't want gaps in all the services that we have. I also want to thank our audience for coming again and listening to our show. If you are interested in using some of your professional skills to help organizations like Bread and Roses Housing to be in a strong position so that they in turn can help the people in the community become all that they can be, please contact me. Again, my name is Joan Kulash. My email address is jkulash, JKULASH, at AOL, believe it or not, .org, .com rather. Do you? Do you? Excellent. And my phone number is 978-604-8803. Looking forward to seeing you at our next Community InRoads show, and thank you for being a part of our family.